Valley is saying.
A man is facing charges following a sexual assault in a wave pool in Wisconsin Dells. How police say recently installed technology helped them in this case.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 5.
And thanks for staying with News 3 Now. Breaking news in just the last hour. Former Badger football player Quintez Cephas is seeking readmission to UW-Madison.
On Friday, a jury found Cephas not guilty of 2 counts of sexual assault. Our Madeline O'Neill is here now. She's following the and joins us with what comes next. Maddie?
Well, Cephas's legal team tells us they filed a petition for his readmission to the university this afternoon. After the sexual assault accusations, Cephas was suspended from the football team and expelled from UW last semester. UW officials say in cases like this, the chancellor will evaluate the request for readmission based on laws and policies. Current and former Wisconsin Badger football players are calling for Quintez Cephas to return to the team today. The hashtag #LetQTPlay is popping up on Twitter. Former Wisconsin running back Dare Agumbawale tweeted, "Now that the nonsense is over, there's no reason for him not to be on the field with the boys this season." Current Badgers safety Scott Nelson wrote, "He deserves this. Make it happen now." Cephas told the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel that going back to school is a top priority for him, and he's kept up with training, saying he has been able to get into the best shape of his life. Now, his lawyers have asked UW to get back to them about the petition by Thursday.
By Thursday. Okay, we'll let you know what we find out. Thank you, Maddie.
You're welcome.
A man will spend 7 years in jail, another 5 under supervision after beating a man and leaving him to die.
That victim's family made their case for a longer sentence in Dane County Court this afternoon. Our Danica Lewis is here with more on that. Danica?
Jacob Johnson pleaded guilty to being party to a crime of felony murder. And then today, his attorney, that is, told the court his client felt genuine remorse for his actions and was at a low risk of recidivism. But Dalton Ziegler's mom, sisters, aunt, and friends argued otherwise today, even playing a video about him in the courtroom to show Johnson just what they had lost. He didn't know Ziegler when he went to the Lodi home last October and beat him to death, all because Ziegler's girlfriend claimed he was cheating on her.
He was supposed to walk his sisters down the aisle, and he will never get that opportunity now because you took that away from him and our family.
The judge pointed out in her sentencing that Johnson didn't have any prior record, and he does have support once he gets out of prison, which is why she decided on 7 years behind bars and 5 years extended supervision, and not more than that. Now, Ziegler's former girlfriend, Michaela Tracy, also faces charges for being party to a crime of felony murder. Her trial is set for January. Drew Luber pleaded guilty to that charge. He's the 3rd person involved in this case, and he is set to be sentenced next week.
Our stories will continue to cover. Danica Lewis reporting. Danica, thank you.
Sure.
The Rock County Medical Examiner releases the name of the woman who died after a crash in the town of Magnolia. The woman has been identified as 59-year-old Maria Mata Mendoza of Madison. The crash happened Sunday night. Rock County officials say Daniel Good was driving southbound on Highway 59 and didn't stop at the stop sign and hit a vehicle driven by Mata Mendoza. A passenger in Mata Mendoza's car was injured. Good is facing 2 charges, including homicide by intoxicated use of a vehicle, and he is being held in the Rock County Jail on a $20,000 cash bond.
A Hartford man is out on signature bond after sexual assault and false imprisonment charges in Sauk County.
A woman says the 34-year-old man grabbed her while in the wave pool at Mount Olympus Water Park. Our Amanda Quintana is here now with more information. Amanda?
This happened on Saturday. According to the criminal complaint, the woman was on vacation with her family when she says Marcos Funes Hernandez, a man she doesn't know, came up to her in the wave pool. He would follow her and she tried to avoid him, but when a wave came, she told investigators he grabbed her and touched her inappropriately. Then he wouldn't let her go. Staff ordered him out of the pool and police were called. Police say incidents like this one have been rare over the last few years since an ordinance required cameras to be installed at wave pools.
People look around, whether you go into a convenience store or in a wave pool such as this, that you're going to see that there are cameras watching. And I certainly hope it stops people and makes them think twice about even attempting something so crass.
Detective Sean Pozowitz says the ordinance was implemented about 3 years ago, and it has drastically reduced sexual assault calls to police from water parks by more than 75%. Mount Olympus has refused our request for comment and will not answer questions about their safety procedures or any possible plans to update them. A $5,000 signature bond was signed today for Funes Hernandez. He is expected in court again at the end of the month.
Amanda, thanks.
All right, let's get a look at your first alert weather now. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti joins us from the weather patio. Gary?
We've had a pretty nice day. Clouds have actually started to develop across western Dane County, and there's actually an isolated little shower that has developed out to the west of Madison. Let's start out by taking a look at visible cloud track. You can see we had sunshine for much of the day once the early morning clouds and fog dissipated, but you can see a little buildup in clouds to the south and west of Madison. Looks like a shower basically from around Blanchardville to just north of Monroe. These have been drifting toward the southeast, but you can see they're very isolated. Most of us will not see any rain at all this evening, and then skies will clear out pretty quickly after sunset. Current temperatures are in the upper 70s to the lower 80s. Dew point temperatures have dropped a bit. They're in the upper 50s to the middle 60s. By tomorrow morning, temperatures will be in the lower 60s with mostly clear skies. We'll turn partly sunny for tomorrow. It'll be a warm and humid day with a high of 84, but there is a chance of a shower or thunderstorm later tomorrow afternoon. That's your News 3 Now First Alert forecast.
Gary, thank you. 9 Sun Prairie residents have filed a lawsuit against the companies they say played a role in last summer's deadly gas explosion there. That lawsuit was filed in Dane County Circuit Court on Friday against VC Tech, Bear Communications, Verizon, We Energies, and USIC Locating Services. The lawsuit stated these companies failed to properly locate a gas line on July 10th of 2018. That gas line was punctured, which led to the explosion that killed Captain Corey Barr. The 9 plaintiffs all lost their homes and property in the explosion. 4 other lawsuits stemming from last summer's explosion have been filed in Dane County Circuit Court.
The FBI is assisting authorities in El Paso and Dayton. In Texas, authorities believe the alleged gunman, Patrick Cruzius, stopped at the Walmart because he was hungry and then randomly chose that location to open fire. Police say the 21-year-old purchased the high-powered rifle he used legally and may have been motivated by a hatred of Hispanics. Police say they found at least 41 shell casings at the Dayton crime scene. They allegedly came from legally obtained the assault-style rifle that Connor Betts used to kill several people in less than 30 seconds. Dayton's police chief says Betts had expressed a desire to commit a mass shooting. A law enforcement official says the FBI is also opening a domestic terrorism investigation into the shooting that killed 3 people and injured 13 others at a popular California food festival. 19-year-old gunman Santino William Ligon fatally shot 3 people, including 2 children, with a Romanian-made AK-47 style rifle before turning the gun on himself. The FBI says it has discovered a target list compiled by the gunman.
Through the digital media examinations and analysis, we find what we believe are targets of interest of this individual. And as I said, they are religious, they are government, they are political parties, both sides of the house. So again, it's a fractured interest in targets. There was nothing that was all one side or the other.
And anyone who has experienced trauma or racism in the past can be triggered by the recent mass shootings.
A Dane County official is calling attention to the lasting mental health impacts following events around the country and closer to home. Our Rose Schmidt is here with tips for anyone who's feeling shaken by all of this. Rose?
Yes, Dane County Board Supervisor Yogesh Chavla posted on his blog about his experience at the Shake the Lake fireworks show earlier this summer in hopes of drawing attention to what he calls the epidemic of gun violence happening across the country and the trauma response needed.
Me, my wife, and my child were at Shake the Lake.
A memory that turned into chaos at the fireworks show.
A number of gunshots rang out.
Has changed the way Dane County Board Supervisor Yogesh Chavla thinks about shootings.
It was a real moment of, sheer terror.
But as he remembers that day in June, he says there's a part of the conversation being left out.
Really need to start taking a trauma-informed approach.
Chavla says public officials need to ask questions.
How can we help the community that was affected? Which nonprofits do we have who have specialists in these areas?
Psychologist Dr. Lisa Baker says the recent mass shootings in Dayton and El Paso can have an even deeper impact than shootings on a smaller scale because those were targeted at specific groups of people from a place of hate.
It brings ripple effects across our society of fear. especially from individuals and groups who are more targeted than others.
Those ripple effects, she says, can be anything from fear, anxiety, to compassion for people affected.
When people relate to or see themselves like the victims because of some characteristics or backgrounds, or because they're in a targeted group, we're more likely to see secondary trauma symptoms.
But what's important is for people not to isolate themselves and instead talk to friends and family if they start to lose a sense of safety and control.
When you think of some of the most sacred areas where you're supposed to feel the most safety and comfort, schools, places of worship, community gatherings and festivals.
It can be a normal response at first to want to avoid those types of places, but it's important to work through that if it becomes a lasting problem.
3 weeks after, 3 months after, how are you still affected by this? What resources do you need?
Dr. Baker says people may watch more TV and media in hopes of trying to understand and make sense of these mass shootings. But she says because these events are so senseless, that can actually make symptoms worse. So she recommends taking breaks from these images of the shooting. And anyone who feels triggered by these shooting events can call the crime response team at the Dane County District Attorney's Office.
Thanks, Rose. In more local news, Monroe police are searching for 5 people who stole and damaged multiple ATVs and UTVs. Police were called to Monroe Power Sports on Saturday for a report of a possible burglary. Investigators said between 11 and 11:45 p.m. Friday, 5 people stole an ATV. The suspects removed another ATV from the business that was found later, and 6 other ATVs and UTVs had damage to them. Anyone with information about this crime is encouraged to call the Monroe Police Department. A former Wisconsin-based airline will return to the skies with nonstop service from Milwaukee's Mitchell International Airport. Officials with the recently revived Midwest Express said they've signed an agreement with the Portland, Maine-based Elite Airways. Elite will provide aircraft and flight crews while Midwest Express reestablishes itself. Midwest Express officials say they're researching business and community needs to determine their initial routes and flight times. They expect to release that information within the coming weeks.
Jordy Nelson is officially a Packer forever. The Packers honoring Nelson's retirement today with a ceremony. Jordy spent 10 seasons with the Packers and 1 season with the Oakland Raiders last year. 69 touchdown receptions, 7,800 receiving yards in his 11 years as a professional. When asked what made him so successful on the football field,
I don't know. Honestly, don't. Like I said, I kept it simple. Just did what I was supposed to do and what I was taught. So I've had a lot of people ask questions of what the secret is. How do we get faster? How do you get whatever? And it's just work and pay attention and do what you're asked, I guess. I don't know. I honestly can't answer that.
looks too young to retire, doesn't he? The former Pro Bowler also helped the Packers win Super Bowl 45 with 9 catches, 140 yards in that game, and a 29-yard touchdown catch to open the scoring. More to come on News 3 Now at 5. Up next, the great novelist Toni Morrison has died. We'll look back at her legacy.
And coming up tonight at 6, why Evansville residents are avoiding drinking water that's coming from their faucets.
And on Wall Street for the market, for now, well, a bit of a rebound. The Dow up 312 points. The Nasdaq back up 107. The S&P jumps 37. We'll be right back. The great novelist and the first black female author to receive the Nobel Prize, Toni Morrison, has died. She was 88. Morrison wrote 11 novels, 5 children's books, plays, even an opera during her 6-decade-long career. In 2012, Morrison received the highest U.S. civilian award when a big fan, President Barack Obama, draped her with the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Toni Morrison died at a New York hospital last night. Her family says she passed away peacefully, surrounded by family and friends.
The Boy Scouts of America is facing a new lawsuit over allegations that it covered up hundreds of cases of sexual assaults. Lawyers for a group known as Abused in Scouting says they've identified nearly 800 victims of abuse, and they say more are out there.
Most of our clients today are in their 50s and 60s, some in their 40s as well. But that tells you how long it takes for someone to come to grips to understand that it's okay to come forward, that it's okay not to live in shame any longer and to not suffer in silence.
The Boy Scouts of America says it has taken information from the Abused in Scouting group and turned over about 120 reports to local law enforcement agencies. In a statement to CBS News, the Scouts added, "We recognize, however, there were instances in our organization's history when cases were not addressed or handled in a manner consistent with our commitment to protect the Scouts, the values of our organization, and the procedures we have in place today." Madison police are working together with local residents to cut down on crime, and that is the focus of an event that they're hosting tonight. Communities across the country will band together for the annual National Night Out Against Crime. It's an initiative to build community spirit and help people get to know their neighbors and law enforcement officers. The event isn't just about crime. There are fun activities for kids of all ages. The Canine and Mounted Patrol will also be there.
And hopefully the weather will cooperate for all those activities. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti now with our forecast. Gary?
I think they will, Eric. This is one of those situations where about 98% of us stay dry tonight and the other 2% get a brief heavy downpour. And you can see these little showers that have been developing over southwestern Dane County, southern Iowa County. Now they're basically south and east of Darlington to just north of Monroe. They've been drifting toward the southeast at about 30 miles per hour. You can see there's very little in the way of activity to the north of that. And I think skies will clear out pretty nicely. So maybe over the next hour or two for areas south of Madison could see an isolated shower, but things pretty quiet. We should see quiet weather for tonight. Now, out to the west, there's some strong to severe thunderstorms over parts of the Dakotas. That could reach us tomorrow. The Storm Prediction Center has a slight risk of severe thunderstorms over southern Wisconsin, but I think the thunderstorm chances for tomorrow won't be as high as they were yesterday. We could see some scattered showers and thunderstorms that could bring some heavy downpours, some gusty winds, and perhaps some hail, but not everybody may see them. So this might be a situation where a few of us get strong to severe thunderstorm and others don't get any rain at all. But you can see the rainfall forecast from the computer models through early Friday morning showing perhaps less than 1/10 of an inch generally over southern Wisconsin, but it'll be spotty. Some areas where a heavier thunderstorm could occur might pick up a 1/2 inch to 1 inch of rain. It's just hard to pinpoint those areas. I think it's more likely that'll happen farther to the north of southern Wisconsin than here in our part of the state. But right now, the early morning fog dissipated, and then we had just a few cumulus clouds pop up, one little shower south of Madison, but that will dissipate pretty quickly after sunset. Live view from the Queen Bee Radio Skycam at Platteville. You can see a little bit of a buildup in the clouds, but for the most part, not too high. And this is the WISC Skycam looking out toward the west. You see the clouds that are passing south of us with the rain. The Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison, still some sunshine over the southern end of Lake Mendota. High today, 82 degrees, low at 66, so still above the averages of 80 and 60. And right now our temperature's at 79 degrees, a little more cloud cover. Winds out of the north-northwest at 6 miles per hour. Dew point temperature has dropped into the upper 50s, so not quite as humid as yesterday, but the humidity levels will come back for tomorrow afternoon. Current temperatures are generally around 80, a little bit warmer to the west, and then you can see the dew point temperatures upper 50s here, but the 60-degree plus dew points not far to our south and west, and that's what will fuel the shower and thunderstorm chances, but they're not going to be as high as yesterday. So at this point, we're not looking for as widespread thunderstorm coverage like we saw last night. Generally, the winds near the ground are out of the west. That's another sign that we're not getting a lot of moisture from the south, from the Gulf of Mexico, and the upper level winds are from the northwest. So these thunderstorms will kind of ride along that jet stream as a cold front eventually moves on through. That means there's not a lot of moisture associated with these thunderstorms, and they're not going to be as widespread again as last night. Here's the next cold front we're watching. The one that came through last night with the thunderstorms is pushed down to the Ohio River. It really hasn't changed the temperatures very much, but it's dried out the air a little bit. Temperatures south of that front in the upper 90s over parts of western Kansas. We're much more comfortable in the upper 70s to the lower 80s. The dew point temperatures again down here, but notice to the south and west, those dew points in the upper 60s and lower 70s. A piece of that moisture will head northward for tomorrow. Forecast for tonight calls for skies to gradually become mostly clear after an evening shower chance. Low temperature dropping to 62. For tomorrow, look for a high temperature of 84 degrees, so it'll be a warm, also more humid day with some scattered shower and thunderstorm chances in the afternoon. As we look at the future track model overnight, skies will clear out pretty nicely. Just a little patchy fog with lows in the lower 60s. High temperatures tomorrow back in the mid 80s. You can see how widely scattered the shower and thunderstorm chances are. They'll mainly be through during the evening, and then after that we clear out tomorrow night. And on Thursday, look for sunny skies. Temperatures mid to upper 70s and lots of sunshine. Again, the rainfall amounts where it occurs. We can see a tenth of an inch or less. Some areas, though, could pick up more in a heavier shower or thunderstorm. What's nice, though, is the humidity levels will drop beginning on Thursday, lasting through the weekend. Just a slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm Sunday and Monday, and then the next chance of rain holding off until the end of next week. As we take a look at first alert traffic, here's the view on the Beltline at Park Street. You can see traffic moving pretty slowly in the eastbound direction. Westbound, not too bad. Delays right now starting between John Nolan Drive and Monona Drive, heading back to around Fish Hatchery Road in the eastbound direction. Westbound, just a few delays around Fish Hatchery Road. Right now, about a 25-minute commute on the eastbound Beltline from University Avenue to the interstate, but only 17 minutes going back in the westbound direction. Heading out of Madison, the usual 27 minutes down to Janesville on I-3990, 17 minutes to Sauk City on US 12, and 20 minutes out to Sun Prairie on East Washington Avenue and US 151. That's your News 3 Now First Alert Traffic.
All right, thank you, Gary.
And still ahead at 5, there are no canoes or campfires at YouTube Summer Camp. We'll have more on this growing summer camp trend after a short break. Welcome back. Many parents, of course, send their children to summer camp.
The outdoor activities give young people a chance to disconnect from social media, but one summer camp is actually embracing it. Tom Hansen explains.
Carmen Yeager is spending part of her summer in front of a computer, but she's not watching videos, she's learning how to create them.
If I go to a normal camp, it's just having fun, but if I come here, I'm learning while I'm having fun too.
This is YouTube Camp. The week-long course teaches kids how to shoot, edit, and post a video on YouTube.
Hey guys, it's Silly Sally and Awkward Brother.
Carmen is using what she's learned to make videos with her brother.
Like even getting to like 10 subscribers would be, I'd be really happy about.
A recent survey found 29% of kids want to be a YouTuber or vlogger when they grow up, more than a professional athlete, musician, or astronaut. One reason why? Some kids are making millions on YouTube.
Ryan.
Forbes says last year, Ryan of Ryan Toys Review raked in $22 million.
It's been very popular.
Jamie Smith is with ID Tech. The company offers tech programs at about 150 locations in the US, UK, and Asia. She says campers are learning more than just how to be a YouTube star.
We're teaching life skills at summer camp, like, how to work together in a team and how to collaborate and understand how to give and receive feedback.
There's a fade effect here.
Julian Polycarp wants to be a gamecaster like the ones he sees on YouTube. The most popular personality, PewDiePie,
is this a secret room?
Has nearly 100 million subscribers who watch his commentary on video games.
I guess my main goal is just gain a pretty good follower subscriber base, hopefully maybe make a little bit of money off of it.
Julian sees his work at this camp as the first step to online success. Tom Hansen, CBS News, New York.
And stay with us. We'll have another check of your forecast in just a moment.
It's a great summer evening outside.
Yeah, a little buildup in clouds, a few showers, mainly south and west of Madison right now, but they're pretty much confined to areas north of Monroe and southeast of Darlington. But you can see how quickly they're moving to the southeast. I think most of this will be over within the next hour or so. 98% of us will stay dry. Temperatures right now, upper 70s to the low 80s. Dew point temperatures, a little more comfortable, upper 50s, but those will come back up for tomorrow. Look for scattered showers and thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night, and then after that, mainly dry weather through much of next week, and high temperatures pretty comfortable.
All right, Gary, thank you. We'll be back in 30 minutes for News 3 Now at 6. Stay tuned now for the CBS Evening News with Nora O'Donnell.